Hello world, I was browsing my recommended videos on YT the other week when an interview with a 60-odd-year-old Nik Kershaw popped up. He was talking about his performance at Live Aid and how he spent most of the song Wouldn't It Be Good with his demons telling him he would never make it through the song without forgetting the words. So, reminded of my time as a teen in the early 80s, I dug out my copy of Nik Kershaw's Human Racing and thought I'd make a cover version of Wouldn't It Be Good for YouTube. That's a work in progress, but researching the record, I discovered some interesting anecdotes, which I thought I'd share. Along with that, I'll offer a breakdown of how the various elements of the song work. I'm not promising a tutorial of the song as such, and for monetization reasons, I'm not going to play it through in its entirety. But anyone wanting to play it could learn how to from this video. A bit of background for you. Nik Kershaw is a singer who came to prominence in 1983. For far too short years, he enjoyed considerable commercial success in the UK, with his most well-known albums Human Racing and The Riddle. His most famous songs are perhaps the singles that charted the highest: I Won't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, not to be confused with Elton's similar-sounding title, Wouldn't It Be Good, The Riddle, Don Quixote and Wide Boy. In fact, his singles spent more weeks in the UK charts in 1984 to 85 than any other solo singer. A third album in 1986, Radio Musicola, produced a couple of singles that just about dented the UK charts. But in 1991, he wrote a song called The One and Only for a chap called Chesney Hawkes, and this reached number one, and number one earworm. For the remainder of his career, Nik has been a prominent session musician, working with Elton John, Sia, Gary Barlow and Tony Banks of Genesis, amongst other people. He still regularly tours, and obviously we can't sum up his career without mentioning his performance at Live Aid in 1985, which represented him at the peak of his career, and you can see those videos of him on YouTube. He is immensely popular and well respected in the industry because he's a very talented multi-instrumentalist and songwriter. Despite all of that, his first LP, Human Racing, was poorly received by the press. Smash Hits in particular, the most popular teenage magazine of the 80s and 90s in the UK, gave it 1 out of 10, saying, "Competent but relentlessly dull synthesized meanderings of no importance to anyone but Mr. Kershaw himself, and even he doesn't sound that interested." Although, even if I look at it retrospectively through rose-tinted spectacles, I'd find it hard to award 10 out of 10. I do think that Smash Hits were a bit mean and, dare I say, rash to only award 1 point. I do agree that because it was the latest technology, synthesized sequencers were overused in the early to mid 80s. Look guys, I have a Yamaha DX7 and an Atari computer, and I'm going to create hugely repetitive farting noises playing at breakneck speed because I can. Digga 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 digga. Not to mention the superfluous swoops and skidding car sounds on songs like Dancing Girls. If our disingenuous reviewer had been snowed under with a dozen such LPs to review that week, and Human Racing happened to be the 9th one, it's easy to see how he or she might be a bit cheesed off. And that's a shame, because the album's standout song, or perhaps the most standout songy-ishy thing of the album, features hardly any early 80s overindulgence of synthesizers on automatic and twiddling at 90 miles per hour. And in fact, actually, I would say that looking at the whole LP, in comparison with an LP like Howard Jones's Humans Lib, for example, which just basically is a whole thundering load of synthesizers just on automatic doing their own thing, with Howard sort of philanthropically oohing and cooing in his vocals and whatever, Human Racing is a very well arranged LP. It's very economical. It hasn't got a million things assaulting your ears. And I think you'll hear that when I go on and talk about it in Wouldn't It Be Good. There is a little bit of a story about the process of the recording, but I'd also like to outline a few features that lift the song out of the ordinary. So the story then. The lyrics are a bit sensitive, has to be said, coming out of my script here. If you are a little bit sensitive, you're feeling a bit touchy today, mental health not quite so good, then perhaps watch this video on another day, but do come back and watch it. Lyrically, they are a bit difficult, probably far more difficult than any teenager in the 80s would thus far have to cope with, but we'll come on to that. So the lyrics express tension between the singer, for whom life is very difficult. My broken spirit is frozen to the core. The heat is stifling, burning me up from the inside. I don't want to be here no more. And another person who has got it easy. Stay out of my shoes. You couldn't dream how hard I've got it. So Nik had trouble with the lyrics, singing Wouldn't It Be Nice in the studio. One of the musicians told him that nice sounds really soft and that perhaps good would be a better word. Nik began by working on the loop that forms the intro and the main chorus. It's a short 4-chord pattern, ostensibly in F major, e.g. a B flat in the key signature, but will eventually resolve to the relative minor, D minor. Each chord plays for 2 beats in 4/4 time, making for a 2-bar pattern. Now, in this next example, this is the Wouldn't It Be Good chorus loop played as if the chords started on beat 1 of the bar and fall regularly on the downbeat. That's okay, but it isn't what actually happens. The loop makes use of syncopation. Syncopation doesn't mean you're having trouble on the loo. It means that the important melody notes and chord changes do not exactly fall on the beat. The loop actually begins on beat 3 of the bar. In the next example, which is more like how you hear it, note how the metronome gives us 2 beats counting. The chord changes fall on the weaker half beats of the bar. Note how we're dragged out of the loop by the chord pattern yanking up a tone to resolve from A minor to D minor, which then sets us up to repeat the whole section. The effect this rhythmic syncopation has on the listener is to slightly disorient them. Remember, the singer is contrasting their awful lot in life with the better fortunes of probably who he assumes is everybody else who has it easy in life. To try and further add to the tension caused by the rhythm, Nik also wanted to contrast sweeter sounding synths with a more aggressive guitar sound. He found that just playing distorted chords against the synth pads didn't work very well, so he decided to make a Queen-like guitar orchestra. He recorded 1 string at a time. This is very much like the backing vocals on I'm Not In Love by 10cc. Each member of 10cc sang the root of the chord, the tape was rewound, and on track 2 they'd sing the 3rd, and on track 3 the 5th, to build up a full chord. So it would sound like 12 people harmonising. Nik did this with his guitars and says he ended up with about 20 different guitar lines that could all be EQ'd separately, then bounced together So what you hear on the record sounds like one guitar, but listening carefully you can hear that all the strings have different qualities, e.g. there might be vibrato or tremolo on a few strings but not on others. It works very well, and the musicians and studio technicians picked this song as one of the better tracks from the LP when it was finished, certainly one of the more satisfying to work on. After 2 repetitions of the chorus motif, the verse begins. Via a quick strum from E minor to B minor, we are transported from the key centre of D minor to the new B minor key. However, this song is very unsettling. It's about someone whose mental health seems to be unravelling right before us. Verse 1 is the first time we hear anyone singing. The first words are, "I got it bad." The chords of E minor to B minor both contain the note B natural. In the chorus of D minor, the key signature is B flat. So we've just come out of D minor with B flat in the key signature. So these chords E minor to B minor, which contain B natural, are very jarring and pull you out of the chorus melody. To cap it all off, it would be an easier song to sing if the first notes of the melody were either B, D or F sharp, which are part of the B minor chord, but actually the first note, "I got it bad," is sung on A. I got it bad. That bit, yeah. Which would make the chord that we actually land on B minor 7. So listen to the turnaround chords at the end of the intro into verse 1. That's the E minor to B minor bit. To make matters more complicated, we are treated to another contrast. Whereas the chorus has this massive guitar orchestra thing, accompanied by layers of synths, the verse begins simply by 4 bars of B in the bass, along with the drums. That would make the "I got it bad" melody note very hard to pitch. Watch the Live Aid performance on YouTube, link below, and you'll hear that. Being terrified in front of thousands of people, he sounds very wobbly as he starts singing. This is because the note A has absolutely nothing to do with the B minor chord that the verse lands on, other than that musicologists call it B minor 7. It doesn't make it any easier to pitch. In verse 2, it gets even harder, because the "you must be joking" line is sung to the note A against just drums. No other accompaniment other than the trail off after the E minor, B minor turnaround chords. So let's look a bit closer at the melody of the first 2 lines of verse 1. I got it bad, you don't know how bad I got it. You got it easy, you don't know when you got it good. This is an example of call and response. It's a technique inspired from humans observing nature. Imagine, if you will, birds in one tree tweeting out a message to birds in the other tree, who tweet their reply. So this isn't exactly copying, it's more like a question with an appropriate answer. In "Wouldn't it be good?" the call line is, "I got it bad, you don't know how bad I got it," centering around the aforementioned note A in the melody, combined with our B minor chord that makes a hard to sing but doable B minor 7. The response line is still B minor, so this chord of B minor is playing the whole way through, but "you got it easy, you don't know when you got it good" centres around an even harder to pitch E, which has nothing whatsoever to do with B minor. The verse continues by repeating those 4 bars of melody, but in the final bar, "even though I know I should" are the words there, the chords change from C to G to set us up for the second half of the verse. So that whole section from "I got it bad" all the way up to "I'm sick of fighting" is 7 bars of B minor 7. And then "even though I know I should" is C major to G major. Now I'm thinking of the bits that has the lyrics, the cold is biting through each and every nerve and fibre. My broken spirit is frozen to the core. I don't want to be here no more. You could describe this section of the verse as a pre-chorus, in that the progression sets us up for the chorus. Melodically, it begins on a note A. The cold is biting, similar rhythm to the beginning of the verse, though it sounds different because the supporting chord is a much sweeter sounding G add 9, or you could call it G sus2. They both describe a chord of G with an added A. The key centre is very vague now. We have a C sharp minor, which adds in a G sharp, which suggests either a move to A major or F sharp minor. We never quite get there though. The build-up of the band in this section, as well as the more frequent chord changes, lift our spirits, although the lyrics are still very grim. And then, by the time we get to Don't Wanna Be Here No More, we are left hanging in mid-air on a D sustained 2. There are no niceties to prepare us for the chorus. We're just slammed into the F major stroke D minor tonality. Again, from a singer's point of view, the voice has to change gear without pressing in the clutch, which is difficult. So the first chorus is the same chords and power guitar section as the introduction. We have the E minor to B minor turnaround leading into verse 2. Just to reiterate the state of mental health the singer is in, Don't Wanna Be Here No More is repeated several times as a synth arpeggiator swirls around. One of the few automatic moments that are evident on this song. The song diminuendos down to a whisper. Then we get the most stonking instrumental section, led by a live horn section. This deserves a shout out. If it were a guitar solo on a Led Zeppelin record, it would go down in history as one of the finest solos ever. Musically, it's the chords of the chorus with a quasi-improvised horn line over the top. I say quasi-improvised because the record sleeve indicates that it was very much planned and written by Jerry Hay and Nik Kershaw. From the horn instrumental on in, the song is simply the chorus repeated. However, a real masterstroke comes when Nik sings verse 1's lyrics over the instrumental chorus to fade out. Remember, they're in two unrelated keys, so the tension can be cut with a knife. As the song dies away, right in the crackle of the run-out groove, you can hear Don't Wanna Be Here No More cutting across the chorus's backing. The elephant in the room that I need to address is that in 1984, nobody was talking about mental health in public. Nik Kershaw, by making an up-tempo, danceable and anthem-like backing, coupling that with lyrics that suggest someone struggling, tapped into the feelings that a lot of people feel. 1 in 5, if the Facebook ad I just saw is to be believed. The lyrics validated emotions that it would have been very difficult for the average 15-year-old to put into words back in 1984. When we were out dancing, it felt good amongst the nothing's gonna break our stride, girls just wanna have fun, lemonade records, to be able to punch our fists in the air singing, wouldn't it be good if we could wish ourselves away? Yay, I'm not okay! Do you know what I mean? That's how it would have felt. It gives a healthier outlet for negative emotions to be expressed than stewing alone. If you are stewing, it is okay, but try and find someone to talk to. Even just passing the time of day for someone can provide relief. And that'll do it for now. Hope you've enjoyed. Remember to like, subscribe, share if you dare. If you want to, consider a super thanks. I've been computerless for a little while, but you'll notice that I have one now. And in that time that I was computerless, I was spending quite a lot of time researching iMovie to see how I could improve the production values just a little bit of my videos. So hopefully you've appreciated that. And if you did, yeah, super thanks would be wonderful. All right, I will see you later. Bye.